Hello, Battle Royale. This might be a longer one because I'm doing some meal prep for the week and for today, so I apologize to anybody who ends up watching this one or listening to this one. Um, I don't even know where to begin. I guess firstly, grateful to be in the finale of Battle Royale All Stars. Did I have my doubts that I would get here? Yes. Like when Sim left, I was like, there's a chance that I don't make it past like I don't know sixth or something. And I got told conflicting things about where I might have ended up dying if not for the Aerith vote at 9. But I did always feel like I had strong relationships with Och, with Dix, Conquer kinda. Nathan was shaky. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Daisy wanted to vote me out ever. Maybe to her detriment, I don't really know. Um, Yeah, I really should have written down points that I wanted to talk about before starting the recording, but whatever. The main things that I guess I want to touch upon is the final fight decision to not vote Oshet out. And uh, I'm okay with it. Like, I want to make it clear that I won't regret regardless of the result. Like, let's say Oshet ends up winning, which I think is the most likely outcome here. But let's say Oshet ends up winning. I'm not going to regret it really. I do think that I threw away a more easier final three combination to me. Like me, Daisy, and Nate probably ends in me winning in most scenarios. I think like unless I royally piss off people, which is still very possible because I have a sort of different plan from iOS. Um, but yeah, I think at final five I went into Final Five, the night after or the night of the immunity challenge when the result was announced and Dixie had won, which I was kind of glad about because I did want to bring Dixie to four, just because I thought that at four it made so much sense for everybody to vote out Dixie. But at five, it meant that the Dixie vote was off the table, which Nate wanted, maybe Daisy wanted as well. And so then it became okay, we have to decide, like for me at least it became okay, we have to lock in our final three because obviously we want Dixie out next. By we I mean Daisy and I. So I went into that thinking, okay, I wanted to vote out Oshet at five anyways, just because she was more likely to beat me at four or beat Daisy at four. So I approached that night like, okay, I'm gonna talk to Oshet and I'm gonna tell her, hey, this is what I'm thinking, because I didn't really want it to be a secret or anything, and I sort of wanted to hear her out. And that may have been a mistake, obviously, because she was able to convince me that the only reason I stayed at six was because of her. And I've considered the possibility that she's not outright lying to me, but she's definitely exaggerating how much danger I was in. Because for me to be in danger, it requires Nate to keep Evie and vote for me. And I'm not sure if that was actually happening. Uh, that's the issue with Nate, though. Almost, I was never sure where his head was at and what he wanted to go because I could see a world where Nate wanted to go to F3 with Evie and Oshet, thinking that was his best combination, which it probably was. And I think that was Oshet's best combination as well. That might have even been Evie's best combination because it meant Evie surviving because Evie was in danger. So like the strategic part of me is like, okay, that makes sense. For all three of them to want that final three, it makes sense. Dixie would have gone along with it to save Evie at the time. So I see it. Like I see the possibility of that happening. And I also believe Oshet when she says that she had the chance to do it, but she didn't do it because she didn't want to vote me out because of our connection. She would miss talking to me. She trusted me more than Nate. A lot of things. What sealed the deal was when I told Oshet that, I'm thinking of voting you out and I'm leaning towards that and, I'm a bit sad about it and I wanted to let you know this is where my head was at. And her immediate response was, and I'm paraphrasing a bit, but man, you bested me. That was her immediate response, which I don't think was rehearsed, if that makes sense. I think she genuinely in that moment felt that I duped her into keeping me while I was always planning on killing her. And that moment sort of hit me. I wasn't expecting that. And it just, the realization dawned on me that I've spent the whole time I've been with Oshet, we've talked every day for a long time continuously. Uh, I consider her a good friend of mine. Uh, there's no like romantic thing here. If anybody's wondering, like that's not how I think about her. She's just a good friend. Um, and Daisy as well, I think, was emotionally struggling with voting out Oshet regardless. So was I. But I think we both understood that strategically it does make more sense to vote her out and go with Nate to F3. Uh, but when we had that conversation, I was like, I don't know if I'm able to rationalize to myself killing somebody who didn't kill me, even though it was in their best interest. And this is very similar to what happened to me in BR3. In BR3, it would have made way more sense to kill Dixie at 5 once that situation sort of presented itself with Naboru. And in that way, I think it would have been much easier for me and Laura both to get to F3 because Aerith would have still wanted Naboru out at 4. I didn't do it at the time because obviously I was emotional. Aerith had taken a huge leap of faith, committing to a Naboru vote at 5, and I didn't want to backtrack on that. And so I felt, I just felt deja vu. I felt like I see the better strategic option in front of me, and emotionally I can't do it. And it's shit like this why I've like accepted that I need to stop playing these games. It's just I'm too soft. I'm too soft at the end of the day because we all signed up knowing or expecting a level of like tough decisions or being on the wrong side of hearing a tough decision. I've been there many times. We've all been there. And the fact that I can't bring myself to do it is very disappointing. As a host, as a viewer, even as a player myself, I'm disappointed in myself strategically that I wasn't able to pull the trigger. Because I think that, I mean, maybe I'm delusional about how the jury feels, but in a final three of Nathan, me, and Daisy, I think I easily win. Again, I could be wrong about that, but I do think that's the case. And during FY, I thought as much as well. Like, I was like, I see a scenario where Nathan could win, which would be epic, by the way. But emotionally, I can't do that to a shit. The possibility that she lied to me, obviously, it exists. I've considered it. But like I said, her reaction in the moment was way too genuine. That it wasn't scripted. I don't think she was prepared for it. And so I do believe that she believes that she saved me. There's too much gray area here with what Nathan wanted, what Oshet would have done if it was presented to her. I thought through it on that day and I just ultimately, like, I'm more comfortable keeping Oshet and possibly losing to her, which is probably what's going to happen. I could still win. Again, I could be delusional, but I could still win. I'm decently good at FTCs. I have something special planned for the OS, which is either going to be a huge hit or is just going to tank me completely. And that's fine. Yeah, I guess that was the main thing I wanted to touch on because I don't think I ever elaborated on my final five decision sort of. And for a while, it did feel like the decision was in my hands, whether Nate goes or Oshet goes, with a little nuances, obviously, to either side. But yeah, that was my thought process. I think I'll probably keep this video separate with just recapping the final five and maybe the final four a little bit, which I'll get into now. And I'll keep my sort of overall reflection for a later video, which I might record later. I haven't done any prep. Actually, you've seen me talking the whole time, so it's fine. I'll end it in a couple minutes. Final four. So I guess building off of final five. I had talked to Ashet about what happens at Final Four, and during the discussion of like what the vote is going to be at Final Five, I asked Ashet, let's say I keep you, which is more likely anyways. Let's say I keep you, will you give me a tiebreaker at 4? And she, without hesitation, said absolutely. So I was like, okay, you know what? I can live with that. I can live with that. Like, at least I've asked, at least she said. people can go back on their word in this game. Like I understand that, but between Oshet and I, we have sort of a relationship where we don't do that to each other to an extent. Sorry about that. Um, how is it? It's called a pressure cooker. Um, so I had that conversation with Oshet. We had that deal in place, and that deal made me a little relaxed coming into the final immunity challenge, which helped a lot. Like I was like, I know I probably need to win this, but let's say I don't win this, and as long as Dixie doesn't win this, there's a possibility. I have a chance at a tiebreaker, which I would have loved to do against Dixie just for our overall arc across the 2 seasons. But I had faith in Oshet's word and relationship with me that she'll give me a tiebreaker. It will be hard for her for sure. It'll be hard for her, but she'll give me a tiebreaker. I had faith. This is gonna happen again. So, and the other thing that was a development after the Nate vote was that Daisy had told me at Final Four she needs to go for me because she can't really go to the end with just one of Oshet and Dixie. She needs to go to the end with both. And looking at the situation, thinking about it, I understood where she's coming from. I think Daisy, Dixie, Oshet, and all winners final three. By the way, another amazing thing that could have happened. I ruined another thing. I think that's probably Daisy's best combination because Dixie is gonna get exactly 3 votes or at least 3 votes. Oshet is gonna get Aerith for sure, and maybe Spyro and Quilava is a little bit of a toss-up, but Spyro and Aerith are almost certainly going to vote for Oshet. So the rest of the 5 votes or 4 votes, whatever, Quilava included in there, Daisy is very likely to get those if I'm not there. Like if I'm not there, she gets Symmetra for sure. Nathan, I think, is voting for Daisy regardless. Maybe he could vote for Oshet. And then I would, like, she would expect me to vote for her, which is possible in that scenario. And then Quilava could vote for her, and I forget who's left. I think that's it. So that final three makes sense for Daisy, and I knew that like she and I had already had that open discussion that if Nathan leaves, she has to go for me, which is fine. So, but like I said, like I think Oshet's deal with me was what kept me sort of relaxed going into the final immunity challenge. My plan or hope was that I get first place in 2 of them, and the rest I get either second or third, which ended up happening. But the ones that I was aiming for first in was the stack and the differences. Like the differences should have been mine because I came up with the method, I knew how to do it, but I messed it up because the difference in the C demigod was really subtle and I didn't see it at first. And I guess the image was a little differently sized. But I don't know if I would have beaten 7 seconds, honestly. Like I think Daisy got it in 7 seconds. I don't think I beat that. I might get it in like 10 seconds or something, which I guess would have still been better because it's second place. I guess, and I did win the stack one. It was really close, like 16, 17, 18 seconds. That's crazy. But I was confident in the stack one that I would win that. And I had practiced well enough that did happen. And then the math one ended up being like a pleasant surprise. Like, I had done a little bit of practice of the math one, but honestly with the math one, practice doesn't really help that much other than just sort of getting in that mindset, if that makes sense. The method I used was the one that Evie had suggested, that just look at the puzzle and start adding things in your phone. I think that's basically what I did. And I think I sort of lucked out, I would say, because the very first path that I tried, I was only off by 1 or 2 numbers. My sum was only off by 1 or 2 of the final result, and I was like, there's a lot of sort of similar numbers in this area, so I'm probably on the right track, and I just need to find the right combination. And it ended up just clicking. The things like this are just like, when it clicks, it clicks. If it doesn't click, you're gonna stare at it for hours and it's not gonna click. The same thing that happened to me in Tangram. Man, that was a stressful night. But yeah, so we won the final 4, and I wanted to give it up. I genuinely wanted to give it up to Oshet for her to tie it for me against Dixie and for us to do a tiebreaker. But Oshet and I had not had the conversation about it. And that's on me. Like I had not brought up to her that I want to do this. So within the 2-hour window that we had, I was at a stand-up show. Taylor Tomlinson was great. People should go watch her. She's really funny. And within this sort of short window, we couldn't discuss it in enough depth to where she felt comfortable doing it. And I wasn't really gonna do it like last time when I did it for reference, like when I did it in BR3, I never talked to Laura about it. I just did it. Uh, and obviously, like if I had talked to Laura about it, I would have sort of sensed where she's coming from and probably not done it. So I'm glad I did it, by the way. But this time I was like, I'm not gonna make the same mistake again. I'm gonna talk to a shit about it, get a feel for it. It didn't feel, you know, like it was coming together. So I was like, whatever. The fact that I made it to final tribal council in what is my last game, I think that's very few people I think get to go out that way, and I'm very lucky. I'm beyond lucky that I get to go out this way in a series that I've loved, under a host that I've loved, as a character that I've loved. It's just I think regardless of if I win or lose, and that's the thing too. Like I don't think I'm coming into this as a total goat. Like I think I have a chance. It's slim, but I think I have a chance. And so I think you can't really ask for more than that. I think as your send off, I think like yeah, I should save this for the other video. Sorry, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Glad to be in the final tribal council, and I have to get to work on my OS stuff soon because I have a lot of prep to do. But I think it's gonna be enjoyable. I hope it's gonna be enjoyable. And so yeah, thank you to everybody who followed along in this journey with me. Um, Videos are hard to watch. I understand that, but I really didn't feel like writing at all, and especially on Discord, I just it doesn't vibe with me. But to be honest, even if I was a board, I might have done videos anyways. So yeah, thank you. As always, I would say if you are watching this, watch it at 1.5 or 1.75 speed. It's fine. I do the same when I rewatch my videos. So thanks again. I hope everybody has a good day. Take care of yourselves.